Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tackle one of those concepts in creative writing that feels, well, kind of magical, but also super misunderstood. We're talking about voice.
You know that feeling, right? When you're so deep into a book that you can actually hear the narrator's voice in your head, or a character is so vivid, their way of talking is so specific, they just feel real, like they could walk right off the page.
Well, that electric feeling, that thing that makes the writing feel alive, it's not just some random magic. It's actually a craft. It's a whole set of tools that writers learn to use. And it has a name: voice.
All right, so first things first. Let's really break down what we even mean when we talk about voice in writing.
Think about it. In just, normal life, when we say we need to give someone a voice, we're not talking about their vocal cords, right? We mean we need to hear their unique perspective, their take on things, how they see the world. So in writing, it's pretty similar, but it kind of splits into two big categories. First, you've got the writer's own voice. That's their unique style, the rhythm of their sentences, their whole worldview bleeding onto the page. But then, you've also got a character's voice, which is the totally distinct way a person inside the story talks and thinks.
Okay, so this is a really important distinction to make, so let's dig into it. The author versus the character. Whose voice are we actually hearing? See, a writer's voice, that's just you. It's your authentic self. Think about how you'd talk to your best friend when you're not trying to impress anyone. That's it. It's made up of everything you've ever experienced, what you believe, who you are. And honestly, here's the best part. You don't have to stress about finding it. It just happens. It develops over time as you keep writing and try to be as honest as you can on the page.
Now, a character's voice, that's a whole different ballgame. That's something you build piece by piece. Okay, take my mom. She grew up in Italy, right? If I wanted to write her voice, I'd have to use her very specific, very Italian proverbs. So if guests were maybe staying a little too long, she would absolutely say something like this. It's hilarious, it's sharp, and boom, it tells you a ton about who she is.
And you just keep layering on these little details. She had another one for someone who was kind of nosy or always had to be involved. He's like parsley, wants to be in everything. You'd fill her voice with her quirks, her superstitions, like never ever open an umbrella inside, and her very particular opinions about everything. That's how you build a character.
But listen, this is super important. A real character voice isn't just about throwing in some slang like y'all or having a character say like all the time. That's just window dressing. A true voice goes way deeper. It shows you the personality, the perspective, the person behind the words.
Okay, here's a fantastic way to think about it. Imagine all your words are guests you're inviting to a party. Now, if the party is a formal tea with the queen, you're probably not going to invite your loud, spitting Uncle Larry, right? It's the same with writing. You choose your words, your guests, to match the tone and the character you're trying to create.
Okay, so we've got a handle on the what of voice. Now let's get into the how. And this all comes down to maybe the single biggest decision a writer has to make: point of view, or, POV. Just think of it as the camera angle for your entire story. Now, there are a bunch of different types, but let's just focus on the big three. First, you've got, first person. A character tells the story using I. Simple, we're stuck right inside their head. Then there's third person limited. The narrator here is kind of like a guardian angel floating just over one character's shoulder. We get to hear their thoughts, but no one else's. And finally, you have the objective POV. This is like a security camera. It just records what's seen and heard. No opinions, no thoughts, nothing.
But here's where it gets really cool. We can take that camera angle and we can add a zoom lens. And this idea, this tool, is something called psychic distance.
So what is psychic distance? It's all about one question. How close are we to the character's thoughts? How much access do we, the reader, get to their inner world, their feelings, their memories, all of it? Are we watching from across the street, or are we literally living inside their brain?
Okay, the best way to get this is to see it in action. So let's meet Jeremiah. He's at a family dinner. Now here's level 1, the most distant view. This is that objective camera we talked about. We see what Jeremiah does, but we have absolutely no clue why. We're just a fly on the wall watching it all go down.
All right, let's zoom in just a little for level 2. See what happens. The narrator starts using words like uncomfortably. They describe a conversation as an odious rant. These aren't just facts anymore. They're little judgments, little clues that hint at how Jeremiah's feeling inside. We're definitely getting closer.
Okay, now at level 3, we crash right through the door and we are inside his head. There's no guesswork. We're told flat out, Jeremiah hated family dinners. We hear all his complaints about the salty fish, and we even get his excuses for his actions. He was 92, for God's sake. Now we can really hear that grumpy, totally fed-up voice of his. And for the grand finale, level 4, we zoom all the way in. This is called stream of consciousness. The difference here is huge. We're no longer being told what Jeremiah is thinking. We are just in his thoughts. We're getting the raw, unfiltered feed directly from his brain. This is pure 100-proof character voice.
So, look, it's one thing to understand all this stuff, right? But the only way to actually get good at it, to master it, is to roll up your sleeves and do it. So with that in mind, I've got a challenge for you. Okay, here's your mission, should you choose to accept it. I want you to pick the most boring, everyday event you can think of. Ordering lunch, getting stuck in traffic, whatever. First, write that scene from that super close stream of consciousness POV. Let us hear every single thought. Then, I want you to rewrite that exact same scene, but from that super distant, objective camera view. Just the facts, ma'am.
So you're basically doing this. On one side, you're deep inside that character's head, getting every little thought, every emotion. On the other side, you're like a documentary filmmaker, just capturing what you can see and hear. When you put those two pieces side by side, you'll feel for yourself just how powerful this whole psychic distance thing really is.
Because when you play with these extremes, when you go from super personal to totally detached, that's when you start to really get control over the voice in your work. So, there you have it. You've got the camera, you've got the zoom lens. The only question left is, what story will your voice tell?